Again, it's to focus your sales activity. The profile consists of three elements. First is the company profile, which consists of an industry, a company type, and size, and geography. So, for example, the financial services industry of type family office that manages over 50 million in capital within 25 miles of Boston. That's a good example of a well-defined company profile. Once you define that, inside the company profile is really the buyer profile. This profile consists of a job title or role, specific responsibilities, and unmet needs inside that organization, typically around a specific use case. The buyer profile, your buyer, often in sales called an ally or a champion. This is the person that stands to gain the most or lose the most with your offering. This is the person that's most closely involved with your offering. So using the prior company profile example, this might be a research analyst who's responsible for doing due diligence on investments, using very outdated, error-prone, and inefficient research methods. That would be a good buyer profile. And then lastly, after you define your company profile and inside that your buyer profile, you have your decision-making unit. And this is the team, the group within that organization that's responsible for vetting your offering and has access to a checkbook. And as I mentioned before, it's probably involves your buyer, but it's other folks in the organization that are involved in that evaluation process. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in just a little while, because this is a very important aspect of sales. This is a game changer if you don't know how to identify your decision-making unit. Ultimately, you have a theory about who what this customer profile looks like in your business plan, but you're probably wrong. You're going to learn your profile from talking with at least 100 prospects out there in the marketplace, and you're going to use that knowledge and that feedback from the marketplace to fine tune and hone in on your product market fit. As you do this, I'm going to offer some suggestions here. First, when defining your company profile and your buyer profile, gather facts, not opinions. Don't ask people, would they do something if you did this or whatever. Gather facts. Do you do something? Does this happen? Don't gather opinions. Lots of people have opinions, and opinions don't write checks. Facts write checks. So when you're defining your customer profile and refining it, seek facts, not opinions. And seek facts related to real pain and cost inside the organization. People write checks for pain to go away. Implied gains are very difficult. Lots of people like to talk about potential upsides, but not too many people with check writing authority will write a check over speculation. Find the pain, find the cost, use facts to do that. And lastly, facts, pain, and cost related to a single business use case. Most startups, if you ask a founder who uses your product, they may rip off 3 or 4 different use cases. Well, it can be used for this, it can be used for this. And that is all very valid and may be very true, but ultimately you need to decide as a founder, what is your beachhead here? What is your single use case that you're going to focus your sales activity? If you don't do that, your focus is hugely dilutive. So you end up chasing multiple scenarios. At the end of the day, you've got to focus on a single scenario that you feel represents the strongest traction or represents the most logical starting point for getting your business started. This use case does not define the destiny of your business. It just defines how you get started. There's only one way to validate your customer profile, and that is you get purchase orders from different companies to solve a similar problem. That's different companies to solve a similar problem. That's the only way to validate your customer profile. I talk to founders all the time. They say, oh, I've got my MVP with my product. I'm out there trying to sell. And I said, well, how many have you sold? And they said 0. Well, you don't have MVP unless you have at least a half a dozen purchase orders that are solving a similar problem for different companies. So this is the real definition of minimum viable product. You don't define it.